Hello, good evening, Astro friends. Today is the 17th of July and it's the day of the late Cancer new moon. So, how's it going with the new moon? It's not just like any new moon, this one. There's so much tension in the atmosphere, in the astrosphere. This is Melanie with the Astro weather for the week starting technically tomorrow, July 18th, but I have to also still address again the new moon that we just had this morning. And there's a lot going on this week also that the new moon catalyzes, especially towards the end of the weekend. And so here's again the chart of the new moon. Check it out. So here is the Grand Cross, end of Cancer here, right? So end of Cancer, the new moon, end of Capricorn, Pluto, that the moon has already made an opposition with today. The sun is making an opposition with Pluto on the 21st of July. That's once a year. And then we have also the nodal axis, the north node barely end of Aries, and the south node barely end of Libra, all in square with one another and in opposition, right? That is called a Grand Cross. And that nodal shift also just happened on July 13th and the nodes will be in that combination until January 2025, 1.5 years. So I had on my walk here today two random encounters with one with a friend, one with a lady I didn't know, but a friend connected us, told her about me, and she recognized me. And so all of us were talking in these two situations about lots of shifts today with the new moon, and especially regarding choices, relationships. That's all the Libra part. So the nodal shift that the new moon catalyzes is about making better choices and not doing the Libra South Node pitfall thing of compromising or being in a relationship too long or being in a relationship that's not really compatible, right? So choices matter, choices lead to change. That's the continuum of Libra to Scorpio, but now we're coming out of Scorpio into Libra. So we have to look at the choices that lead to these changes that we see or the effects that we see and make better choices. And from the Aries side, also be true to ourselves, be authentic and be brave, be courageous, be ourselves and choose ourselves. Choose you, I say, right? And then the new moon here today happened end of Cancer, which has a Pisces undertone. And that is about being at home, being at one with the all, with the universe, being really connected, right? Being in a beautiful, loving field that feels for you, you're safe, you belong unconditionally. So that is often for lots of us, due to childhood wounds, not necessarily a given, right? But this is a chance for a new beginning. This is a beautiful cosmic blessings to invite us into this field. And what else is going on this week? So let me give my little cheat sheet that I will post on Facebook with the whole curriculum for the week, the lineup. So yes, let's look at the moon first, right? The moon is going into Leo this evening, still in Cancer, goes into Leo after shortish void phase from 8:06, yeah, so the moon is now void until 9:39 p.m. Pacific. And then the moon will be in Leo for 2.5, 3 days, so all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, until the morning, mid-morning Thursday in Leo. Then it's the newly waxing, it's the faintly crescent and young moon in Leo. We'll see the first sliver of the moon in the next few days after sunset. Beautiful, and the moon will also even catch up with Venus and then eventually with Mars, because that's Venus is in Leo, Mars is in early Virgo, right? So we'll have the moon punctuating, accentuating Venus just before she goes retrograde, and then also bringing in Mars and connecting with Mars. That will be on the 20th. The connection with Venus will be um, on the also on the 20th. Okay, both right. And so let's go to the moon first, a week, day by day for this week, and then to the Venus retrograde shift and other things that are coming on the weekend. So yes, the moon in Leo will have already a much more expressive and out there energy than the sensitive and more introverted moon in Cancer. It has a lot to do, which probably came up for you in the last few days before even the newness this morning. That was the dark moon in dark before new moon in Cancer. Lots of unmet needs, lots of sensitivities, lots of themes that you care about, or you feel, you feel you might or might not get your needs met, right? So, and that needed to be funneled into being actually in a better vibration with that new moon and taking it from there. So, so the moon in Leo, much more confident, expressive out there, showing your colors, being a true expression of you, put it out there, and be in a loving place, right? Being in a heartful, in a generous place, right? So bringing sunshine and love to the world is what Leo does and wants to do. And often Leo is kind of, hijacked by the ego and by the need to be seen and loved and to get attention. But that's basically just a compensation. So then the moon goes into Virgo from the Thursday mid morning on, all day Friday, and Saturday until the evening of Saturday. So Virgo is more grounded again. So with Virgo moon, the mood turns into more practicalities, getting things done, organized, doing things that make the world a better place, being of service and being diligent, right? So organizing things. And that comes out specifically when the moon goes in connection with Mars, which is once a month, but it will be also this week on the 20th in the evening. So energy builds up for that on Thursday afternoon. And not only that, also the moon will go opposite Saturn, right? Because Saturn is in Saturn is in Pisces, while Mars is in Virgo, right? So the moon will go into opposition with Saturn and then in conjunction with Mars. And Mars will be opposite Saturn, all of that on Thursday. So Thursday is quite a Virgo Pisces day. What's that dynamic all about? On one level, you could say bringing order into chaos, being reasonable, being rational, and also using your intellect, your mind, and your practical common sense to defy all these crazy, confusing, overwhelming, and chaotic vibes that we need to have also good boundaries against, right? With Saturn in Pisces since March 7th this year for the next almost 3 years, now 2.5 years or so, until February 2026, is teaching us a lot about what do we do when the vibrations, when the atmosphere, like literally the climate atmosphere, but also the emotional atmosphere, the social atmosphere are contaminated, are chaotic, are really insane, right? So, how do we ground energy again, right? And how do we not get carried away and totally, you know, it's pulled into all this stuff, right? So Virgo brings also more common sense and groundedness to all of this, right? And says, hey, this doesn't make sense because la 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 la, right? So being, yeah, again, also being concerned about health, wellness, and overall practicality of things, right? Is this actually a plan that could work, or is it just a pipe dream, right? So Pisces can be very idealistic and can be all out there, but Virgo says, hey, come on, okay, so we're gonna see how this adds up, even, right? Can we, like, financially, right? So Virgo also deals with finances and with management of business, of money, and all. Like, can you afford this? Can we really do this, or is this just a fantasy, right? And also, is this healthy? Is this relationship functional? And all this kind of stuff is what Virgo's interested in. And then, so what else is going on? Thursday, then the energy shifts on Friday. So what's also going on Thursday is the Sun goes into trine with Neptune, and then on Friday, the 23rd, into opposition with Pluto, which you can see in the full moon chart already building up, right? So end of Pisces, and here you have end of Cancer, the Sun, and end of Pisces, Neptune. So there is this trine sort of, the square is the dominant figure, right? So it's superimposed on it all. But the trine is also latently there and building up. And then, yes, the opposition with Pluto, here it is, right? So that plays out within 2 days. And the trine is actually a beautiful vibe. The is a water trine, right? That can help us be more connected, more at ease, raise our vibrations, be in the water, by the water, be like water. Water is life is a theme of Cancer, which has to do with the water of the womb and the water, the river, the dynamic water, right? The river of life. And Pisces with the ocean. All the rivers go into the ocean. And can we be in this watery, flowing, connected, and a place where you can receive, where you can be at ease, where our vibrations are really attuned to the cosmos, to the universe, to all that is. And when something is not conducive, we swim away. We don't need to deal with it. We're just phasing something out, right? And with Pluto in Capricorn, we also need to learn not to take on all kinds of old stuff, even though we might have inherited it or it might have been conditioned by what I call the old empire, and to rather be nurturing, caring, and more humane rather than compassionate, rather than the shadow of the old um, structures, the top-down hierarchies. They can be pretty linear, and they can be even cruel, right? That is also Capricorn. You have to do this. This is basically the extreme of the law, right? And cruel and tyrannical. That's the shadow of Capricorn, right? So not engaging in that mode, but actually going with the Cancer, and actually also bringing out the power of Capricorn, which is the power of integrity, the power of going with natural laws, and also learning from history, and letting the ancestors and elders support you, going with respect, also respecting one another in any relationship, right? And then looking at the human family from the Cancer side, right? Rather than always having this eye on the governments and stuff, which is Capricorn, right? So what's with the needs of the people and what's with the human family, Cancer side. Okay, so what else is going on this week? On the weekend, July 22nd is when Venus goes retrograde and the Sun, Venus in Leo goes retrograde and the Sun goes into Leo. So Sun, Solar, Leo month and season goes from July 22nd until August 23rd. And the fact that Venus is in Leo for such a long time, since June already until October, 4 months this year. And so that's special, right? And it is also due to the retrograde phase that is just about to start. Venus is now in this turnaround mode of going from being slowly forward, basically ahead of the Sun. In can show you here, Venus is ahead of the Sun as far as she gets ahead, pretty much 44 degrees of the Sun, but she will go from Earth's perspective retrograde while the Sun goes forward, and then the Venus will be behind the Sun again in the zodiac. And that will be then in the sky, it's sort of reverse. In the sky, she is now setting, yeah, so that is again identical. In the sky, she is, nope, it's reversed, sorry. Okay, she is setting behind the Sun, after the Sun. She's an evening star. And through the Venus retrograde phase, which is also called Venus goes into the underworld, because we can't see Venus in the evening sky anymore and not in the morning sky yet, because she's so close to the Sun. And so in that mode, she will eventually then rise before the Sun, and that she will be the morning star. It's called, even though Venus is a planet, right? But it's called Venus morning star. And that concludes the Venus retrograde phase, which is going on this summer every 1.5 years. Last one was in December, January 2021, 22 in Capricorn. And so the Venus station currently and retrograde has to do with, on one level, possibly tapping into old relationship patterns. Whom do we attract? What do we attract, right? That is a Venus function. Venus is like a magnet. It's about attraction. And we can attract people from the past. Like literally, we can run into people who haven't seen in a while, and they can remind us of old relationship patterns, which can be literally old partners or people who with whom this comes up, right? And we look into these old relationship patterns. It could be also mirrored by something somebody tells you, depending on where Venus is in your chart. And the whole point would be with Venus retrograde to unravel that, to look into these, become aware of these old relationship patterns, and then actually developing more self-love, especially in Leo, right? And coming to our own inner love goddess, basically, which then also strengthens our self-esteem, our values, and then we come out with clearer sense of ourselves and our values, and we attract from there. And that would be the signature of the Venus morning star. Venus evening star has also Libra undertone. Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Venus evening star with the Libra undertone, Venus morning star with the Taurus undertone. The Libra undertone is kind of a correspondence with now the South Node in Libra, right? Which is all about, also about dysfunctional or not really healthy, not really balanced relationship patterns. And there's so much to that, of course, right? So it comes up for all of us in different ways. And so we need to look into those and go for more of that and sort of accumulate more relationship karma, right, with Venus retrograde, and actually unravel the old. And then with Venus morning star, she has a Taurus undertone, and Taurus is also where Jupiter is now in Uranus. So it's all about being strong in our values and being freer in our values as well. So we don't need to adapt to other people just because we feel, oh, they might not like what we value, right? So more freedom, embodying freedom is what Uranus in Taurus says. And also a time for nature, wonderful in the summer, of course, right? Perfect. And then what's also going on the weekend is on July 23rd, Chiron in Aries goes retro. And that goes on until December 26th. That is once a year, typically July till December these years. And so Chiron being the archetype of what's called the wounded healer, it's about our old inner, and especially with Aries early wounds that come up with all sorts of situations and are being triggered these years since Chiron entered Aries, which was 2019. And one piece could be with Aries, oh my gosh, I'm all alone here. Where's everybody, right? And or I'm the first, or I'm the only one, dot dot dot, right? So Aries is a solo energy and is also often ahead of the time, ahead of the curve, and everybody else is not quite getting it, right? So that can be annoying, and that can make Aries very angry, frustrated, and impatient. So there could be all sorts of wounds regarding all this. And it could also have to do with early wounds of abandonment or violence in a family and all these things, right? How do you relate to healthy self-assertion with Aries? Are you in survival mode, which can be also a wound of Aries, right? And so we need to now come back to the inner medicine of Aries, which is authenticity, which is being, it's the inner, activating the inner warrior, right? So what do we need to do at this point? How do we need to maybe summon our courage and go ahead, even if other people don't follow, are not on board, or might not approve, right? So what is the authentic you calling you? And that also corresponds with the North Node in Aries. See how it all comes together, pretty cool. And so this much for the Astro News of the week. Yeah, there's yet another piece, right? So now we're in the last phase of Cancer, which has a Pisces undertone, as I said, right? Where the new moon was, which is all about universal connectedness and belonging. And then early Leo, which starts on the 22nd, just before Chiron in Aries goes retro on the 23rd. Early Leo, first 10 days, have an Aries undertone. So it's about really creative self-expression. Be an expression of your true, authentic self. See, even more Aries reinforcement through the early Leo with Aries undertone solar season. Okay, I think that's it for today. I offered here a lot. Hope you didn't feel bombarded and overwhelmed, which is the shadow of Aries and Pisces, and can take a lot away from it. As usual, I post links to Astro articles relating to all of this down in the show notes. And if you'd like to get the email Astro News newsletter, one that just went out yesterday for the new moon, the next one comes up for the full moon on August 1st, comes out for every new moon and full moon. Let me know, send me an email, I put you on the list. And yep, that's about it. Wish you a beautiful summery transition week from Cancer into Leo. Even more creative, joyful, loving self-expression. Bye-bye.